Packers for safety HaHa Clinton-Dix, adding to an already strong defensive unit in DC. Adam, how much do you think HaHa brings to the table and helps?
He's been a thorn in my side for years. So quite frankly, I'm glad he's out of the NFC North now. He's definitely a productive, very talented player, and I think he can only help Washington. You see, I mean, their defense is already. I mean, they already held Saquon Barkley to 39 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think the Redskins are, I believe they're number 4 in total yards allowed.
Wow.
So their defense is obviously already strong, and he's only going to make them stronger. They've got that lead over the Eagles right now in the NFC East, and so they're doing everything they can to try to hang on to that and get themselves a division title.
Yeah, and like you said, it's nice to see him out of the North, switching teams up. The Giants head into their Week 9 bye at 1-7, and not too much to worry about there in New York. Let's go to Browns at Steelers, where the Steelers take care of business at Heinz Field, rout the Browns 33-18 to win the series. Pittsburgh weapons Antonio Brown and James Conner both score 2 touchdowns. Cleveland extends its road loss streak to 25 straight, one away from the NFL record, and the Browns are winless in Pittsburgh since 2003. Gavin, James Conner, the more I'm watching James Conner, the less I think Pittsburgh's worrying about Le'Veon Bell. Conner's turning into a pretty good running back there.
Yeah, I think this is part of the reason why the Steelers weren't willing to offer Le'Veon the money that he was asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Connor dealt with some a little bit of injury issues last year, but was very very talented running back coming out of college. So I think that they saw that they had a future in him, and so when it came to the contract with Bell, especially with Bell facing some if he gets another suspension for substance abuse, I think it's
a year probably.
Yeah, I think it's the year one because I believe he's already had his multi-game suspension for it.
Yeah.
So you've got that, and paying a running back, when you're committing $18 million to the running back position, that's that much money that you don't have for others. So Connors, I don't think he's helping them not regret their decision.
Definitely. Do you think he's a future star? Like in a couple of years, do you think he's going to get a big contract?
Oh, definitely. If he keeps playing like this, it started out looking like maybe the first game was a little bit fluky, but he's pulled off multiple big games since then. So I think that he's got a bright future ahead of him, and the Steelers, are going to be without Bell at the end of this year for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger passes Fran Tarkenton for 8th most career touchdown passes at 343. Roethlisberger touchdown passes to Antonio Brown number reaches 67, which is tied for seventh most all time with Peyton Manning to Reggie Wayne. So they're starting to get some pretty good accolades there. After this game, the Browns said enough is enough and fire Hugh Jackson, their head coach, and their offensive coordinator Todd Haley, promoting defensive coordinator Greg Williams to interim head coach and Freddie Kitchens to OC. Hugh Jackson leaves Cleveland with a record of 3-36-1 as head coach. Adam, I think a lot of people assumed Hugh Jackson was going to get fired here sooner than later. I'm a little bit worried though that if you're firing Hugh Jackson, who's an offensive-minded head coach, and you're firing Todd Haley at the same time, you're getting rid of your guys that are the two guys that were establishing the offensive system with Baker Mayfield. Do you think firing both these guys at the same time could hurt Baker Mayfield's development?
Definitely. I mean, at least for this season, I don't think he's probably going to get much, outside of this season, other than just, reps, which is very important for a young quarterback. But obviously Williams is a defensive guy. The whole thing The coach probably should have been Hugh Jackson probably should have been fired in the off season when they brought in the new GM.
Yeah, I agree.
And if not for the fact that he had only won a couple games in 2 seasons, at least because it's a new GM and you want to bring in the new guy. There was an interesting stat I saw that Hugh Jackson's win percentage is 205, whereas Bill Belichick's win percentage is like 650 something. In order for Bill Belichick to get to a 205 winning percentage, he would have to lose his next 850 games in a row, which is 54 straight seasons of losing.
Wow.
Which I don't know, not really that important, but I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
So he should have been gone after last year. It's unlikely, even with talent, that he was going to be able to turn a team around from 0-16 to anything that resembles a playoff team.
Yeah.
So, Baker Mayfield's going to probably be stunted a little bit from this move. They probably should have kept Todd Haley there. However, I'm sure they're going to bring in an offensive-minded coach in the offseason.
Yeah.
If not sooner. I mean, I don't know who they're going to find in mid-season, but definitely in the offseason.
Yeah, Gavin, are you with that thinking? You think that this could hurt Baker Mayfield? I mean, the Browns never can seem to figure it out. Every single quarterback they draft, it goes wrong at some point. Is this another step in a process that could lead to the same thing happening?
I think it definitely could, but I guess if it's going to happen, rather it be a little bit earlier, maybe than later. If Hugh Jackson is that detrimental to their growth by just being an awful coach, then maybe it's better just to get him out of there sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Just get some new life in there. I defended Hugh Jackson in the offseason when he didn't get fired, saying that his team was garbage, and of course he's not going to win many games, and just touted the stability on a team and how having a coach there for longer is beneficial. But I guess I forgot to mention that the coach actually has to be a decent one. I think Jackson's just shown himself as relatively incompetent, if not completely, over the course of this season alone, and he doesn't have the excuse of no talent anymore. They've got great players on both sides of the ball. The decision to continue to use Carlos Hyde and not use Chubb is really perplexing. And I believe there were some arguments between him and Haley about that over the off season, or during the start of the season. And so him and his offensive coordinator couldn't get on the same page. So I think I'm a little surprised they fired Haley as well. Someone that has head coaching experience, and it seemed like to have him there at least and be a little bit more stable would make sense. But my understanding is that one side was saying you have to fire Hugh, or one side was saying you have to fire
Todd,
Haley, and so they just said you're both gone. Like we can't decide, so we're killing you both.
Yeah, and that might be the best thing for them. Who do we think the next Browns head coach should be? This may be a destination where some guys actually want to go now with the young core, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, those wide receivers. What do you guys think? You think Mike McCarthy, Josh McDaniels, maybe try and convince Lincoln Riley out of Oklahoma, or maybe the next Sean McVay, the Chiefs OC? I think it's Eric Bieniemy or something like that. What do you guys think?
That's a tough one. It's going to be I think whoever it is, they probably need a good at least 3 years, time, to get a little, to get a little something, momentum going there. You could see, I don't know if they would want to do something like, Mike McCarthy might be a good option.
Yeah.
You got a guy like Chip Kelly out there.
Yeah.
Who I don't know if he's going to get another job in the NFL, honestly, but I did hear Lincoln Riley's name come up the other day. He just said that he is not interested in coming to the NFL at this time. Of course, we've heard a lot of coaches say that in the past, and
at this time is the key.
Yeah. So
on this Wednesday at 3 p.m., I'm not interested.
Yeah, exactly. But talk to me again on Friday at 2.
Right.
Yeah. That's tough. You've got a guy like like Norv Turner down in Carolina. He's doing really good things for Cam Newton right now.
Yeah.
Who's had obviously a lot of success coaching when he was back with the Chargers. So there's a lot of guys out there. We'll see what happens. But I think they've probably got a handful of pretty good options. But it is the Browns, so they'll probably bring in Wayne Fonts or something.
Yeah, and I think if you're Cleveland, you finally have a decent GM there in John Dorsey. So I think in Dorsey they trust and just hope that he brings in the right guy. The reason McCarthy's rumored is because Dorsey and McCarthy have a little bit of a history. The Cleveland Browns will start a new chapter in Week 9, Hueless versus the 7-1 Chiefs. So a tough way to do that. I'm kind of surprised to see Greg Williams head coach, even if it's interim, after the bounty gate stuff, but hopefully Cleveland's not putting out bounties.
Yeah. I would like to add that Cleveland is, as you said, one game short of the longest road losing streak, and the number one was the Lions at 26 games.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was actually at the game when they finally beat the Bucks.
Nice. That had to be a celebration.
Yes.
Let's go to Ravens at Panthers, where the Panthers claw past the Ravens in Bank of America Stadium 36-21 versus the top-ranked defense in the NFL in Baltimore. 9th straight home win for the Panthers, who are suddenly, out of nowhere, the Panthers are looking pretty good. Cam Newton, 58 rushing touchdowns, most of any quarterback in NFL history. Newton after the game, end quote, we present a lot of issues for defenses, and that is what this offense was built for. We have dynamic players all around the field, end quote. Gavin, the Panthers, just a couple of years ago were lacking in the skilled position players department. Now they seem to be a lot better off, and the ball seems to be rolling in the right direction for Carolina.
Absolutely. Christian McCaffrey's looking a little bit better on the ground this year than he did last year. And they also got some production out of DJ Moore. He's looked better since the bye week, their rookie receiver. Greg Olson's healthy right now. And Cam Newton's always a threat to run the ball. So their offense is looking great, and their defense is looking relatively good as well. But the strength of the offense, as Adam mentioned there, Norv Turner in charge of things on that side of the ball. That's a great move.
Yeah, and the Panthers run up 36 points on a Ravens defense that's been giving up 14 points per game. The Ravens dropped their second straight game, and Bad Flacco showed up for this one. He had this one interception along the sideline that there was nobody around. He just kind of flips it out right to a defender for the easy interception. I'm not sure what that was. Adam,
that's what elite quarterbacks do.
Hey, he'll bounce back, Gavin. Patience. Adam, what do you think this game says more about? The Panthers getting it going in the right direction, or the Ravens falling to 4-4? Best defense in football, but maybe flawed a little bit. Who do you think this says more about?
I think it says more about the Panthers. They're just hitting their stride right now. Cam Newton's playing very well, as I said. Norv Turner, his completion percentage is up to 66%. Prior to that, his highest one, I think it was in the season they went like 15-1 or 15-2, whatever it was, and he was at like 62%. But every other year has been like a sub 60% completion percentage. So you see that completion percentage going up. Of course, he's always a threat running the ball. What he said was true. That it is kind of a nightmare when you have this enormous quarterback that can also run the ball. You never know when he's just going to take off. So you almost have to have a spy on him all the time. Which of course drops a guy out of coverage.
Yeah.
So It is
Yeah.
very difficult. The Ravens, they had not allowed a second half touchdown, I think, up until last week against the Saints. So yeah, they've lost 2 games, but it has been against the Saints and against the Panthers. So, the defense, it's probably not as good as they started out being, but it's still a solid defense. And Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco. I've never really been a big fan. He kind of forced his hand into that big contract, with that 1 year, Super Bowl performance. But so the team really had no choice but to sign him at that point to a big deal. But if it were me, but before that, I probably would have done the same. Probably done the same thing after. But beforehand, I don't know if I would have given him that kind of a contract.
Yeah, and it's tough to say. Hopefully the Ravens get it going. They've got a big game coming up next week, home game against division rival Pittsburgh. So that's, in my mind, that's a must-win if the Ravens are going to get into the playoffs. The Bengals are very competitive in that division as well, and I picked the Ravens to go to the playoffs. So, or I don't know, they're a fringe team. So hopefully they get it going. In the trade deadline, the Ravens ship a 7th-round pick to Green Bay for running back Ty Montgomery, so that'll help. He's a good pass-catching running back. And we'll talk a little bit more about him in a little bit. The Colts beat the Raiders in Oakland 42-28, first winning streak in 3 years. Veteran kicker Adam Vinatieri breaks the NFL record for all-time points, passing Hall of Famer Morton Anderson, 2,550 career points. Marlon Mack gets it going for the Colts. He's the first Colts running back since Joseph Adai in 2007 to rush for 100 yards 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
Crazy. Indy allows 0 sacks for the 3rd straight week and is the first team since 1970 to go consecutive games with at least 200 rushing yards, no sacks, and no turnovers. This team, the Colts, may be hitting their stride a little bit, improving to 3-5. Gavin, you think the Colts could be legitimate?
I think that they are going to be a decent team. I don't see them as being a playoff contender. Definitely not, maybe not even in the playoffs. I think there's still some struggles on the defensive side of the ball, though they've definitely made some improvements this year. But they have Andrew Luck, who is a good quarterback for sure. And whenever you have a good, borderline great quarterback on your team, you always have a chance because those are the types of players that can win you games.
Yeah.
Even when your defense is struggling.
Yeah, and it's nice to see him coming back pretty well from that, that shoulder surgery where he said himself he didn't know if he was ever going to be the same. Adam, it's just a shit show there in Oakland. The Raiders are having major issues. Last week it was talk that maybe Derek Carr had lost the locker room, going back to a hit against the Seahawks where he was like crying after the hit. John Gruden after the game says, quote, "I'm not going to give up, period," end quote. What do you think of the Raiders? And do you think Derek Carr is still a franchise quarterback? Or what do you think's going on there?
Yeah, he has glimpses still that that he still can get it done. It's hard to tell. He's been in that just like very inconsistent phase where sometimes he plays pretty well, other times he's not doing very well. But he actually played pretty well in this game. 75% completion percent, 250 yards or just under 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. So that's a solid game. I was curious to see how John Gruden would be coming back as a coach in the NFL this year.
Mm-hmm.
My last memories of him when he last coached in the league, 10 years ago or so, was that he was kind of a bully.
Yeah.
And kind of a cocky guy, kind of a bully. But then you see him on Monday Night Football for all those years, and he seemed like he had changed. But he gets back in the coaching, he gets that coaching hat back on, and it's back to the same. So I think it's going to be very tough for him there for a while. They've kind of already admitted to the fans there that listen, this is not about now. This is about when we move to Vegas. We want to get for Vegas. We don't really care about you here. So
Yeah.
it's just a really tough time there in Oakland. But I do think they have to give Derek Carr some more time because I don't think you can count him out yet.
Yeah, and Gavin, you were all over it early on. You were saying pump the brakes on Gruden. He's not the genius that we've all built him up to be. And after 1-6, 1-7, tough start to the year, trading away their best pass rusher, and just looks like it's chaos out there. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You think the Raiders will? Do you think Derek Carr will be the franchise guy when they move to Vegas, or do you think there'll be a new quarterback by then?
I think they got to stick with Carr. He's far from the worst starting quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
And I really, I'm not sure where they're going to be picking this year, but they're not going to get a quarterback better than him in free agency. So if anything, they would have to look and hope they can get something in the draft. But that's never a guarantee. And if I were a Raider fan, I'd much rather stick with Carr, I think, than risk trying to get somebody this offseason.
Yeah. And I'll say this, this may be the one good thing that John Gruden's done since going to the Raiders, getting a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. We didn't get to talk about that. What do you think about that trade, Gavin? Were you surprised by the compensation for Amari?
I would have been if it were anyone other than Jerry Jones. He's been known to overpay for wide receivers and their pass production.
Yeah.
Any Lion fan that's been one for the last decade will know about celebrating Jerry Jones's poor decisions. I think it's not the. I don't think it's as bad as the Roy Williams trade though, because one, it was just a first and not a third, and then also Amari Cooper, he's younger, he's not as far removed from his good years as Roy was, but I think that they're giving up a first round pick, and the way that Dallas is playing, they're looking to be picking pretty high up this year. It's probably going to be in the top half of the first round, and while Amari is young, he is getting paid a lot of money. So you could get a young guy on a rookie deal that's, you can't say for sure that it's going to be as good as Amari was, but I just think that it was, it's just a bad move by then, and a great get for the Raiders. Like I said, it's probably going to be a first half of the round, first round pick, and they can, try and start rebuilding their team with all these first-round picks that they're getting for all their talented players.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have to see. The Raiders will play tomorrow night at the 49ers. So there's a barn burner. 1-6 Raiders at the 1-7 Niners. Let's go to probably the game of the week was Packers at Rams. The Rams survived the visiting Packers upset attempt. Force a kick return fumble, and that pretty much sealed the win for him. Got him a 29-27 win in the Coliseum. Greg Zuerlein kicks the game-winning 34-yard field goal for the Rams. And Aaron Rodgers still had 2 minutes on the clock if Ty Montgomery would have taken a knee. The story on him was Montgomery had been taken out earlier in the game, and from playing running back, and he was mad, and he slammed his helmet on the sideline and was visibly upset. And then he was told by Packers coaches to just take a knee in the end zone, give it to Rodgers at the 25, and we'll go win the game. Instead, he decides to run it out, try to make a play, and instead fumbled the ball away, and any chance the Packers had of winning that game. Adam, do you blame Ty Montgomery for this, or do you think the Rams were going to find a way to win this regardless?
It's always tough to say the hypothetical game, but it's probably mostly on him. You have Aaron Rodgers over there. He probably got a decent shot of at least getting down the field for a field goal, and the It's interesting that there's normally that other guy back there on the receiving team that comes and kind of gives the guy there in the end zone the stop signal.
Yeah.
Like don't come out. Not only was he not there, but I noticed that all the other guys on there were like going up the field to block, like they were expecting him to run, which I thought was weird. Maybe they were doing it just that's what they're used to doing, so they just it's kind of just routine for them to do that. But in that very situation, you think that we know he's just going to take a knee. I did hear Ty Montgomery say that he thought that the ball was kind of borderline. But to me, it looks like he caught the ball, a couple yards deep in the end zone.
That's what I was gonna say. Like two yards in.
Yeah, so
you gotta know.
If that's what you do, if you've done that so many times, you should have the spatial awareness to know, and I'm sure he does. The spatial awareness to know that he's not right on the line there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he was thinking. I don't think it's because he was upset. I did hear reports of that he was upset at the team. I don't think in the NFL that's something you do.
But, I could see it like this. Like, I don't think that he was trying to hurt the team. I just think that maybe he was upset. Maybe he was in his head like, I can do this. I believe in my own talents. Give me an opportunity. I can do something great for the team. And he wants to put it on himself. All those Packer teammates are maybe tired of hearing the fact that all it is Aaron Rodgers there in Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers, without him, they would be like a 4-12 team. And I think that maybe that got to his head, and he was like, I'm going to go make a play and prove that I can get it done. What did you think, Gavin? A costly mistake by him.
Yeah, definitely. If you have to pick one person to blame a loss on, which isn't fair, and you can't really do that, but if you had to, it definitely would be Ty Montgomery. Not only did he have this critical mistake, but also in the previous drive, he blew a pass protection assignment that led to a sack on Rodgers.
Wow.
So that's also a critical mistake there. But as far as them being upset, people keep cheering for you wouldn't be anything without Aaron Rodgers. That's every team in the NFL pretty much. If you don't have your All-Pro, for sure Hall of Famer quarterback, your team wouldn't be nearly as good. Well, no shit. We've seen it happen dozens of times before. Peyton Manning goes out, Colts go to shit.
Yep.
Packers had Brett Hundley back there last year. Colts go to shit. Even quarterbacks that don't have that fame yet. Jimmy Garoppolo goes out. Look at the 49ers now.
Yep.
If you have a great quarterback and then they go away, your team is going to drop off significantly. Unless you happen to have a amazing defense on top of that, which is incredibly rare to have both. So I don't think it's that, or if it is, that's extremely petty, and good luck finding a team where it's not going to be that way. You're going to have to go to Jacksonville and just be happy with going 9-7 every year.
Yeah, and now he'll get to deal with Joe Flacco as Ty Montgomery shipped to the Ravens for a 7th-round pick, which 7th-round pick is, just slightly better than being released. So he goes,
we were going to cut you, but we can get a little bit of something for you.
Yeah.
Compensation.
The Packers also ship Clinton Dix to the Redskins for a 4th-round pick. Gavin, were you surprised to see Clinton Dix move on, and that'll make things a little bit easier for us in the North?
Yeah, for sure. He's been playing really well this year, so it's really surprising not only that they moved him, but they also moved him for just a 4th-round pick. That makes me wonder if there's something more to the story that we aren't aware of outside of the Packers front office. But it's a little bit strange to see them dumping players like this. Makes you wonder what the future holds for Mike McCarthy there, if they're looking to start rebuilding, and typically that involves starting with the new coach as well. And they've committed to Aaron Rodgers, obviously, like any smart organization would do. So it seems like they might be planning for a little bit of a rebuild. But even if they're doing that, I don't know how you get rid of Clinton Dix. He's only 26.
Yeah.
He's a talented guy. I'm not sure what his contract is. Maybe he's due a lot of money this next season, so they're just looking to just get something for him before they let him go in free agency. I'm not sure, but a puzzling move from an organization that it's strange to call it a 3-3-1 team with Aaron Rodgers in limbo, but I feel like there's a lot of talk this offseason on how Rodgers is going to feel being on a team that hasn't given him the talent, trying to win strictly through the draft, back in the Ted Thompson days, and how this guy only has one ring, who's, he's supposed to be the best quarterback in the league. A lot of people think he's the most talented guy, at least. So I think that maybe they might be looking for some changes, and so that might be why they're willing to ship off some of these guys and acquire more picks to try and build through the draft, I guess. Or maybe they'll trade the picks. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And us being in the North, now's the time to pounce. Now's the time to take advantage. While the Packers are in a little bit of flux, while they're switching coaches and shipping out their players, now's the time to take advantage of it. And as we saw this week, Minnesota taking a loss too. So the North is kind of up for grabs, and be interesting to see what happens this year. Reportedly, the LA Coliseum was about 60% Packers fans, which is pretty crazy. The Rams, 7-0, and you got like 40% your fans at home. Their best start to the season since 1969 there in LA. Let's see here. The Packers will look to bounce back in Week 9. It doesn't get any easier. Next week on Sunday night, they go to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. Let's quickly skim over the Cardinals beating the Niners to improve to 2-6. Game of who cares. Let's go to Sunday night. Saints at Vikings. I actually fell asleep watching this game. So, Adam, what did you make of Saints at Vikings?
This is always a fun matchup in these two teams, like it was last year in the playoffs. They just kind of match up well against each other. It's always kind of an entertaining game. It's always going to be full of you got Kirk Cousins and Drew Brees, going back and forth. So it was just a very entertaining game. You see, surprisingly, actually, Drew Brees not having that great of a game, but Minnesota and Adam Thielen again. He's ridiculous. I noticed him. It was the last year, or maybe the year before. I watched him. I just noticed that when the ball goes to him, like no matter where it is, like he catches it.
Yeah.
And that's I appreciate the most in a wide receiver is the ability to just always catch the ball. That's like kind of my one knock on Odell Beckham Jr. He makes these fantastic catches, but he'll also drop a lot of these little simple passes. And so it's an entertaining game. I think people say it's kind of revenge for last year, Minnesota, beating the Saints in the playoffs. But, you can't really avenge a playoff loss in the regular season. Yeah,
definitely true. Gavin, last year at this time we were talking about how hot the Saints were, and once again, Saints on a 6-game winning streak. They go on the road and beat the Vikings in prime time. Saints looking dangerous as ever once again.
Absolutely. They got Mark Ingram back after his suspension, and he's looked great. Great compliment to Alvin Kamara. Really great compliments to each other. And Drew Brees only threw 120 yards, and that's all he needed to, and they still won by double digits. Really well balanced team. It's I'm sure the Saints fans they get a little bit of satisfaction, it's kind of healing that wound from last year. It still didn't make the Super Bowl though, so can't fully heal that. But it definitely got to be hopeful for them to see their team playing well, and knowing that the Vikings, as a team, would want to step up and show the world that they deserved to win that game last year, and not it wasn't it was a fluky play, but they really got themselves in the spot where that was all they needed. But it looks like maybe they do need a little bit more.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see going forward what happens there. The Monday night game, Patriots go to Buffalo and easily dispose of the Bills, 25-6. One thing I'll say about Buffalo is their defense is better than I thought, at least, and a lot of people give them credit for. But when you're marching out Derek Anderson or Nathan Peterman or any of these guys, it doesn't really worry you. So that was the capper for Week 8. Let's go to Week 9 predictions. Thursday night, Raiders at Niners, a game of who cares. Do you think the Raiders can beat the lowly Niners? I'm going Niners.
Yeah, I'm going to go Raiders on this one. I believe that C.J. Beathard is not looking like he's going to be playing this week. So while...
Do we know who's going to start then?
I believe Tom Savage is one of the backups, and then there's another guy who I have never heard of before. So I'm not sure if it's better that it's Tom Savage or if it's this another random. But I think that the Raiders can get a win out of this because they're going to have some better quarterback play.
Yeah, I could see that. Adam, do you got the Tom Savage-led Niners getting a win?
I'm actually going to go with the Raiders on this one too.
Nice.
They've been in a couple of games this year, and they've played tough against some teams, and they haven't quite gotten all the wins that they should. But the Niners aren't going anywhere. I mean, the Raiders aren't either. But I think the Raiders are slightly better at this point.
Nice. Yeah, I'll
Doug
go.
Gruden can get his. It's costing the Raiders organization $5 million a win instead of $10 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Let's go to Sunday. Let's go Bears at Bills. This is another must win if we're gonna make the playoffs. I got Bears over the Bills. I think Nathan Peterman's starting, so book a W there. I'm sure you guys agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting defensive matchups. Those are two of the top defenses in the league. I think they're both top 10 defenses, so it might be kind of an ugly game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Trubisky looks against a good defense. Hopefully he has a couple games in a row here where he can have good games and don't turn the ball over. Lions at Vikings is a big game. I'll be watching this one. I love NFC North division rivalries. I would say this is close to a must-win for the Lions if they want to make the playoffs this year. Adam, you think the Lions can go to Minnesota and get a big win here?
Before the season, I thought that we'd probably lose to Minnesota, especially in Minnesota. I haven't seen anything that changes my mind on that. Now, we have seen Minnesota put up a couple question marks there, like how did that happen, particularly in the game against Buffalo when they got destroyed.
Yeah.
So, you never know, but I think probably the safer pick at this point is Minnesota.
Yeah.
Sadly.
What do you think, Gavin?
I've got Lions in this one because somehow Matt Patricia gets us to lose the games we should win and win the games we should lose. And
true. That is very true.
So I'm going to go with the Lions in this one because of Patricia's. We're swinging to the other side now.
All right. That should be a good one. Falcons at Redskins. Gavin, do you expect the Redskins to keep hot and improve to 6-2 here?
I do. The Redskins defense, especially adding Clinton Dix, really stout already. DJ Swearinger already a great safety playing there. It's outdoors. Matt Ryan is known for being bad outdoors.
Yeah.
So I've got the Redskins in this one. The Atlanta defense is just terrible right now. Just to top it all off. So between Matt Ryan outside and unable to stop Alex Smith even, I'm going to have Washington in this one.
All right. You agree, Adam?
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington has a lot more to play for right now, too. I think Atlanta with Carolina and New Orleans in their division are looking at a pretty tall task of trying to get back in it, whereas Washington is already leading their division and looking to pounce.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go Redskins in that one, which will be crazy because they'll be out to a 6-2 start. It'll be pretty impressive for the Redskins. I didn't know Jay Gruden had this in him. Let's go to Steelers at Ravens, one of my all-time favorite rivalries. This is a must-win, in my opinion, for the Ravens if they're going to, even contend in that division, a tough division. I'm taking the Ravens here. What do you think, Adam?
I'm actually going to go with the Steelers. It's always a tough matchup between these two teams, but right now it seems, Connor's got it going, and Ben and Brown have the hookup, and so I just think Pittsburgh's playing a lot better right now. Baltimore's coming off back-to-back losses, and they were playing good teams, but I think they're kind of in for more of the same against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they might be. It's always a tough matchup. What do you think, Gavin?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think I got Steelers in this one. They're looking, I think, they're playing like a better team right now, just overall, and looking for a little bit of revenge from their home loss against the Ravens earlier this year. So I think it'll be a close one, but I'm going to pick Steelers in this one.
All right. Speaking of revenge, I've got Justin Tucker atoning for his miss against the Saints. Game-winning Justin Tucker field goal in this one. Let's go Texans at Broncos, the Demaryius Thomas Bowl. The 5-game winning streak Texans with Deshaun Watson, hopefully healthier Deshaun Watson, in Mile High, where we know is a tough place to win against those pass rushers with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. Who do you think is going to take this one, Gavin?
I got the Texans in this one. They're looking real good.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless and Jadeveon Clowney, and they're going to be coming down on an exposed Case Keenum.
Yep.
So I got Denver losing this one, especially without Demaryius Thomas. They got Cortland Sutton there, who's a really promising looking rookie. I think he's going to thrive there with Thomas gone, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They'll be able to clamp down on the Philip Lindsay a bit too. The Texans rushing defense. So I got Texans in this one.
All right. What do you think, Adam?
My gut reaction would just go to the Texans immediately. However, we did see Denver just put up a pretty good game against Kansas City, one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league. So it's tough to say, especially since the game is in Denver. But I think I'm going to stick with Houston.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very tempting to pick Denver here, but I'm a Watson fan. I'm been following him since college and rooting for him. So against I say another tough battle, but the Texans, a clutch Watson drive gives the Texans a win in Mile High. Chargers at Seahawks. 4-3. Surprisingly, the Seahawks are back in it. I thought they were dead and buried a little while ago, but they're resilient. They're running the ball better. Against the LA Chargers. Adam, what do you think here?
I got the Chargers in this one.
Okay.
I think they're just a better team right now. Although Seattle is kind of surging. Phillip Rivers is still playing at a high level, and it's just a hunch.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you think, Gavin?
I've got Seattle in this one. They've been playing a lot better recently. Home field, Seattle's one of the hardest places to play.
Yeah.
And the Chargers are a team that always seem to give up games that they shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And so for those 2 reasons, I'm going to go with the Seattle. But I wouldn't be blown away if the Chargers win this one by any means.
Yeah, I would say the Chargers are probably the more talented team, but with it being in Seattle, with Russell Wilson coming off a hot game and them establishing the run, I'm going Seahawks here. And Stoyo learned last year from picking the Chargers to win the division. He learned real quickly that the Chargers can find ways to lose games that they normally shouldn't.
Yeah, and real quick on the Chargers, their only 2 losses are against the Rams and the
Chiefs. Yeah.
But if you look at the teams they've beaten, they're not juggernauts either. So
yeah.
They almost lost to the 49ers, which was a little bit of a fluky game, I understand, but I still have to take that into consideration as well.
This is the game of the week right here, or close to it. Yeah, I would say it is. The 8-0 Rams at the 6-1 Saints. Possible NFC Championship game preview. Gavin, where are you going on this one?
I got the Saints in this one.
All right.
The Rams are really good. Don't get me wrong, but I think that they're a little bit overrated.
Yep.
They should have lost this last week, I think, to the Packers at home, even though they don't really have home field advantage. They're in LA because no one cares about them. Too much other stuff going on. But I got the Saints in this one. They're looking really good. They're looking really balanced. And I think it still should be a really good game, but I got the Saints prevailing in this one.
All right. Yeah,
Prove me wrong, McVay. Prove me wrong.
Battle of the winning streaks. 8-game winning streak for the Rams. 6-game winning streak for the Saints. Where do you see this one going, Adam?
I actually agree with Gavin. I think the New Orleans Saints are going to take this one. I agree. The Rams are flawed. They've gotten lucky in a couple games. That's just part of it in the NFL. Sometimes you're going to get lucky, sometimes you're going to get unlucky. They've had good fortune so far. With especially like in the last game with Ty Montgomery decided to bring that ball out. Not only that, but then fumbling.
Yep.
Another game with Ingram and Kamara back there. Drew Brees playing back in the Superdome in New Orleans. They're very tough to beat there.
Yeah, you guys are right on. Home game. Saints have all the momentum. The Rams, in big games, I agree. I think the Rams have some flaws, and I fully expect the Saints to win this. I think it'll be a good game, but I do expect Drew Brees to get it done. Let's go Sunday night. Packers at Patriots. Are we going to be looking at a below 500 Packers? I say yes. I say Patriots get the win at home in Foxborough. What do you think, Adam?
I agree. I think the Patriots will win. I'm almost willing to call this one a not even close game. Let's see. I almost want to say it's going to be a relative blowout.
Wow.
As far as it's just tough to say because I don't think Green Bay have been blown out too many times with Rodgers there, but. I'm talking not like a 20-point thing, but I think
double digits,
double-digit win, probably for the Patriots at home.
Yeah.
If it was in Green Bay, it might be a different story. But Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are so hard to beat, and they're in Foxborough.
Absolutely. You agree with that, Gavin?
I agree that the Patriots are going to win, but I can't ever bet against Aaron Rodgers for at least keeping games close. I've seen him too many times, turn what should be a absolute thumping on the Packers into a close game and even some wins. All it takes is one Hail Mary.
I would say this is the Ty Montgomery effect. If he was playing, then I'd be saying Packers. No, I'm just kidding. Patriots all the way. Let's go Monday night. Titans at Cowboys. A big game for both teams. Both teams underachieving thus far. Both teams really needing a win. Prime time in Jerry World. I am going with the upset. Am I? Let me think about this for a second. Titans at Cowboys. What do you think, Gavin?
I've got Texans in this one. Sorry, the Titans.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. They're coming off a bye. They've had a little time to prepare. I think that the rookie coach Mike Vrabel is a better coach than Jason Garrett, and I honestly just think they have a more talented team as well. So talent wins out. And I got Titans.
Okay. Do you agree, Adam?
I'm actually going to take Dallas.
Okay.
They're also coming off a bye week, and I don't know if Jason Garrett has prepared for this team because apparently he was caught at the baseball game, which is I guess a big deal. But no, Dallas has been playing better as of late, and also if you look at their season so far. They've lost and they've won. They've lost one. They lost their last game. They're going to win this time.
Oh, that's a convincing argument right there. I was going to go Titans, but Mariota's been struggling a little bit this year. That running game hasn't been what it should be. And like you said, I buy into that Dallas whole win-lose, win-lose. They're like a career 800 or 500 team, 8-8 team.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I'm gonna go Cowboys here, and I would rather see the Titans win. I think I'll be rooting for the Titans, but I got the Cowboys somehow finding a way to win, maybe on a Maher game-winning kick. So we'll see. Gavin, you believe in your boy Mariota?
Not really.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of faith in
Dak,
anybody on
Jerry.
the Cowboys,
More
really,
than
except for
Jameis
Zeke
Winston at
Elliott.
this point.
Yeah, more than Jameis. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or leave a comment. We'll be back next week. We'll try to get some guests, some guest interviews coming out, and stay tuned. Hopefully, week 9 will be a hell of a week of football. Thanks, Adam and Gavin, and you guys are welcome back.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, hell yeah, and have a good one. So, all right, guys, peace out.